Thursday again, guys. So let's end off the week with today's edition of the Israel Brief. A cup of tea or coffee or beverage of your choice. There's no judgment here, guys. I'm sure it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and given the news that we see on a daily basis, I don't blame you if you want a cocktail in the middle of the day. Who wouldn't? A reminder, if you're joining me for the first time, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where you guys join me for a look at those top stories, and we do it every Monday to Thursday. Now, next week, I have my annual WITSO meeting of representatives, so there is a good chance that I will be out and about in different parts of the country, and the Israel Brief might look a little different or come to you at a little bit of a different time, but I will try my absolute best to get those top stories to you as soon as possible. If you have any questions that you would like answered on the Israel Brief, please be in touch with me via our website or via our social media. And because it is Thursday, I bring you your choices of mensches and morons of the week. It is day 832, and as we say every single day, we will not stop counting down the days since the 7th of October until we get the last remaining hostage back. We want our brother, the shield of Alumim, the defender of Alumim, Master Sergeant Ran Givili, returned home to his family for a dignified burial. So let's take a look at those top stories, and we continue with the big story of the week, and that is the latest developments happening in Iran. Now, a short while ago, it was announced that the US have lowered the emergency level on certain military bases around the Middle East, and military personnel have started to return to their bases in places like Qatar and Kuwait. So where are we right now? Well, Israel is still in high alert. This is in expectation that the Americans could launch a strike of some kind against the Iranian regime as a result of their brutal crackdown on protesters across the country that has resulted in what we know from the Iranian opposition side to be about 12,000 men, women, and children. The Iranian regime has taken a lot of criticism for referring to them as terrorists. Now, there have been some eyewitnesses who would put that figure as high as even 20,000, but we are waiting for definitive numbers. The president is believed to have told Iran that he will not attack the country. Now, this is according to a Iranian source speaking to Qatar-based Al Jazeera. The president tweeted just earlier today, or rather he took to his own social media network, Truth Social, and said that the executions in Iran have ended. He says hopefully there will not be any more. Now, Irfan Sultani, a 26-year-old shopkeeper, was due to be executed yesterday. With divine intervention, or perhaps President Trump's warnings to the Iranians, that has been postponed, and we really hope it doesn't happen. Earlier today, the Iranian opposition site reported IRGC, that's Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, armored vehicles as well as police vehicles rolling into city centers with machine guns to quash any kind of protest. President Trump, please do not abandon the people of Iran. They need you. In Israel last night, Israelis took to the streets in solidarity with the people of Iran. Yesterday, the UK embassy evacuated all of their embassy staff from Iran. Iran's airspace was closed for about 5 hours last night. It has reopened, and some airlines said that they would be suspending flights to Israel pending any possible Iranian retaliation. Meanwhile, we are expecting the UN Security Council to meet a little later today. This is at the request of the United States to discuss the situation in Iran. Iran's crown prince Reza Pahlavi, speaking to the media, has said that after the regime falls and a free Iran rises, he said his first steps would be to recognize Israel, to normalize the United States and relations with the United States, to end the nuclear program, and to enlarge the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords. Now, at the moment, the Iranian regime is still in place. A representative from the US Treasury yesterday said that they are abandoning their, or pulling their money out and abandoning, he says, like rats off a ship. But these next couple of days and even weeks are absolutely crucial to see what happens next. Last night, the US Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, announced the start of Phase 2 of President Trump's peace plan. This means that the plan goes from ceasefire into demilitarization and hand over to a technocratic leadership or governance, as well as reconstruction. Now, the US has been clear that they expect Hamas to comply with all the requirements. That means completely demilitarizing, handing in their weapons. And while Hamas reportedly spoke to Reuters a little earlier today, saying that they are prepared to start ceding certain areas over to a technocratic government, which interestingly does not include the Palestinian Authority. Now, the Palestinian Authority welcome the technocratic government, albeit they won't be a part of it. And according to US sources, Hamas has signaled that they are ready to comply. Do we believe them? In our experience, they signaled to us just in the months prior to the 7th of October that they had no intentions of a war with Israel, that our policy of extending work permits was working, of ensuring that they received money from Qatar was working, that they had no intentions of any kind of conflagration or war with Israel. However, and I hope if you're part of the US negotiating team, the genocide of the Jewish people and the destruction of Israel is hard-baked into Hamas's foundational documents and DNA. Do we trust them? My opinion, absolutely not. The US mediating team thanked other mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and from Turkey, and have said that while they will not hold back the second phase for the last remaining hostage, that is Ran Gvili, they will continue to search for his remains. The Gvili family said that, basically Hamas or Israel has lost its last leverage over Hamas, which is making sure. Wait, let me rephrase that. Brain not working properly. Maybe I need another sip of my tea. The Gvili family said, you've taken away Hamas's last leverage, which is the last remaining hostage. And from Israel's perspective, the return of Ran Gvili remains our priority. We now go to Argentina, where the Argentinian President Javier Milei has announced that he has banned and outlawed 3 branches of the Muslim Brotherhood, the Lebanese, Jordanian, and Egyptian branches. This follows a decision by President Trump earlier this week, who signed the ordinance that also would put or declare that the Lebanese, Jordanian, and Egyptian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood would be on the foreign terror organizations list, that they are banned in the United States. And finally, as if we don't have enough to contend with in Israel, with wars and rockets and everything and alarms, this morning a earthquake measuring about 4.2 magnitude rocked the southern and central parts of the country. It was felt in areas around the Dead Sea. Dimona, the mayor of Dimona, reported that his whole office shook. Parts of Eilat, I didn't feel anything where I am in Modi'in, but according to Magen David Adom, Israel's rescue services, there were no injuries. But guys, as if we have not enough to contend with in Israel, we have earthquakes to deal with as well. So those are your top stories. Let's take your question of the day, which comes from Marianne in New York City, who says, Ro, what do you do to take time out? Well, first of all, I want to stress that I do take time out. I'm very, very precious about my downtime. I make sure that I go to the gym. I make sure that I take regular news breaks. It is so important. Guys, the news will be there when you get back. And I make sure that on a weekend, if I look at my phone, it's only to catch up on the gossip of the week or to look at fun things. I like to look at little animal clips. And funny enough, I've gotten quite into those things on Instagram when people take like a rundown cottage somewhere in the world and they do it up. I love those kind of home makeover things. But I make sure that I take time out, that I don't consume too much news, that before I go to sleep at night, I read content that is light and fun and not going to give me an anxious night or any kind of nightmares. But being a journalist, especially in a time of war, does take its toll. So I do make sure that I look after my well-being, my nervous system regularly, and I enjoy a nice cup of tea with my good friends at the Israel Brief. And finally, let's take a look at your morons and mensches of the week. So I'm going to start with the morons, and we've got Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, for being absolutely silent about the atrocities committed against Iranians by the Iranian regime, who his country is a strong ally of. Not only has he not condemned it, his government have taken the side of the Iranian regime. Mark Ruffalo, who gives his opinion on just about every single issue and cause in the world. I think he turned up to the Golden Globes earlier this week with a pin about the ICE shooting. I really haven't been following that story in its entirety, but I know that wherever there's some kind of signal or virtue to be signaled, you'll find Mark Ruffalo. But he said absolutely nothing about the situation in Iran. And my choice, the entirety of the silent left, who have not said a word, who in fact have actually doubled down in their support of the Iranian regime, because so big is their Israel derangement syndrome and so big is their anti-Israel and anti-Jewish hatred that they would rather people be murdered in the streets of Iran than take a firm stand and maybe admit they were wrong. I just want to warn these people. Israel derangement syndrome comes with a side effect of extreme stupidity and eats what's left of your brain. And now for the mensches of the week. A lot of you have said the actress Sydney Sweeney for taking the time to meet former hostages Avi Natan Or and his girlfriend Noah Argamani. We are so thrilled to see the two of them reunited. She took the time to meet with them, to pose for pictures with them, and I think she was incredibly moved with the opportunity to meet them. So we love you, Sydney. We love that you don't give an absolute rat's about what anyone in Hollywood says. You're above being cancelled, and you met with the hostages. And my choice of Mensch of the Week is a national treasure. We love him in Fauda. We love him as a singer and an actor. This is Idan Ahmedi, who fought in Gaza, was severely injured. And after a very, very intense year of rehabilitation and treatment, he announced this week he is going back to the reserve forces. So what a treasure you are, Idan. You are the best of us. Toda rabah. Thank you for your service. So guys, that's it from me for the week. Don't forget to join me again on Monday. In the meantime, please don't forget to follow us on our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. Thank you to our new subscribers. And please, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please like, share, subscribe, and get as many people watching as possible. There are many attempts to try and shut down our visibility. So if you can help a girl out, that would be appreciated. We're on Facebook at Lottel's site, on Instagram, on Rolene_Marks, on Substack at Rolene Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, and on my own personal website at rorosrantings.com. So guys, have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye for now.